play is resuming in less than 2 weeks now, and at the Charles Schwab Challenge. Earlier this week, avid golf fan Charles Barkley weighed in on what the PGA Tour should do in the events held with no fans. And of course, Phil Mickelson had a take on it as well.
If I'm the PGA Tour, and this is my piece of advice to them, if we're not going to have fans, they should mic the players. I really believe that. That's just my 2 cents for the PGA Tour. I really think they should consider, if you're not going to have fans, you can't just have guys playing golf and announcers talking. I think if they're going to be successful and have great ratings, number one, they're going to have great ratings because we need golf. We need sports. But I think they should consider having micing the players.
I would be open to the idea because of how it's being received and some of the insight and so forth, but you don't have the play between individuals. So like I had a partner and Tom and I could talk back and forth, and maybe we would have some of that with the caddy, but having a partner is much more intimate and you have much better conversation. So in a real competition for on the PGA Tour, you're competing for a title, you won't have that type of kind of interaction, descriptive
fun.
Yeah, it won't be the same, but I think it would still add something, and I would consider it. Yeah.
Okay, so Lefty is open to the idea of players being mic'd. So let's explore the possibilities, shall we? As the field at the Charles Schwab Challenge will be the strongest this season and the best that tournament has ever had, with the top 5 players in the official World Golf Ranking all in the field list. So guys, Phil Mickelson has given us the green light, in his opinion, to mic players up. So what would your ideal grouping be if players were to be mic'd up at the Charles Schwab Challenge? Robert Damron.
Is Charles Barkley in the field? Because that would be a good one to mic up, I think. He's one of the few that actually would be exciting and good to listen to. But, you know, Phil was right. The golfers on the tour that are playing in this tournament, it's not that exciting. It's been tried on the Korn Ferry Tour, miking players in the past with the lukewarm response. But I think I've got a group that would be pretty good in this situation. Jordan Spieth, for one, he's tough on Michael Greller. He whines a little bit too much sometimes. Sometimes it gets old. Sometimes it's interesting, but it's always there. You know, he's always talking. And with him, I put Patrick Reed because is there any hangover still from the Paris Ryder Cup? That I want to hear. I want to see if they're kind of barking at each other, what they're saying. Maybe we'll finally learn some behind the scenes stuff. And then the one real guy that actually wouldn't care if the mic's on him or not. If you're going to do this, you got to put the kids to bed because he's going to say some off-color things, but Pat Perez, that's the one guy, honestly, in the field. If you're going to mic a guy up, I want Pat Perez every day, all day. The guy is fun to listen to.
I am so disappointed that I forgot about Pat Perez in my grouping, Robert. I agree with you. That is an excellent selection. And this is not new. You mentioned Korn Ferry Tour, LPGA Tour has done this before. I would so look forward to doing this or hearing this. And I also have Jordan Spieth in my grouping that I would like to hear mic'd up. Not only because he has great conversation with Michael Greller, talks through his shots a lot, we get inside his head a lot, but he's played well here. He's only finished outside the top 15 once in 7 starts. So likely we'd have a good playing Jordan Spieth. Justin Thomas. Yes, part of it is bias of just hearing him commentating on the match. I know it's not going to be the same when he's playing, but I still would like to hear him. And Bubba Watson, strictly based on the fact that he plays the golf course differently. I want to hear what he's thinking as he's approaching shots, because I know he's seeing a different golf course than I.
Tell you what, Paige, I want 3 players mic'd up. Phil Mickelson has to be mic'd up. We just heard him at the match, too. He's become everybody's crazy uncle at Thanksgiving. I have no idea what he's going to say next. Bryson DeChambeau is Phil's understudy, you know, the next smartest kid in every room he walks into. And finally, Justin Thomas, who surprised maybe everybody with just how great he was as an announcer. Great golfer and a great walker. That's quite a talented young man.
I love that. I also want the crazy uncle in my group. But here are my 3 players. I stuck with the DeChambeau theme because I want to hear him talking about his new gains. He's just a fascinating man. to watch out there on the golf course for so many reasons. I've chucked Patrick Reed in there as well, the man who DeChambeau has sort of identified with as not an outcast, but someone who he feels like has also had a bit of a tough time recently. Those two could be interesting together. And then because he's essentially the nicest man I think I've ever seen, Victor Hovland, talking about how much his chipping sucks just after he wins in Puerto Rico. An open guy, so fun to listen to.